The Montana wind howled like a freight train through Jack Harlan's dreams that bitter February night in 2023. In his sleep, he was back at 32, watching Emily adjust her simple white gown, her green eyes sparkling under the chapel lights as she leaned in for their first kiss as husband and wife. Her laugh was like fresh coffee on a crisp morning, warm and inviting. Then came the pounding sharp, urgent, pulling him from the haze. Jack bolted upright, his chest pounding like a drum. The dream faded, leaving only the chill of his empty ranch house and that insistent knocking at the door. He threw on his flannel shirt, grabbed the flashlight from the nightstand, and padded through the dark. The door swung open, and there she stood in the porch light to Emily's face, Emily's eyes, Emily's slender frame shivering in the snow. But Emily had been gone for 5 years, lost to that damn car accident on the icy roads. Jack's grip tightened on the flashlight. Was he cracking up, or had the endless Montana winters finally pushed him over the edge? Emily, the name slipped out like a ghost from his past. The woman clutched a worn duffel bag, her designer coat torn and mud-streaked. Bruises bloomed across her pale skin, but those eyes, damn, they were Emily's eyes. I'm Laura, she whispered, her voice a soft melody that echoed his wife's. Emily's twin sister. Twin sister. The words hit Jack like a bucking bronco. Emily had talked about Laura in passing a sister she'd drifted from after their parents' messy split. Laura had stayed in New York with their dad, while Emily moved west with Mom to start fresh. But seeing her now, framed in the doorway like a mirror of everything he'd lost, it twisted something deep inside him. Laura stepped closer, and he caught a whiff of high-end perfume mixed with desperation. "Please," she said, tears freezing on her lashes. "I have nowhere else to go." That's when Jack saw the full picture of the swollen lip, the finger marks around her neck like a cruel collar, the way she recoiled when he reached to help her inside. "Who did this to you?" Laura's face, so like Emily's but etched with a harder resolve, softened in relief. "My husband, Victor Hale. He's a monster, Jack, and he's not going to stop until he finds me." The wind screamed through the pines, promising a blizzard. Jack had grown up learning to protect those who needed it. This old man drilled it into him with tough love and life lessons. His stint as a Marine in Afghanistan had sealed it with fire and grit. Emily, on her deathbed after the crash, had made him swear not to let the world turn him bitter. "Come in," he said gruffly, stepping aside, "before you turn into an icicle." As Laura crossed the threshold, Jack felt like he was inviting in more than just a storm. 3 days later, Laura finally opened up by the wood stove, wrapped in Emily's faded quilt, the one with the sunflower pattern she'd sewn during their first year together. Her bruises had darkened, but her posture had straightened. There was a fire in her that no beating could snuff out. Victor runs a big tech firm in New York, caps, data centers, the works. More money than sense, and twice the cruelty. Jack handed her a mug of black coffee, noticing how her hands still trembled. "How'd you end up with a guy like that?" "Dad set it up when I was 24. Said I needed stability." Laura's laugh was hollow. Victor was all charm at first dinners, diamonds, sweet talk. I was naive enough to buy it. She rolled up her sleeve, showing a map of faded scars. It started smell a slap for burning dinner, a push for talking back at parties. Then the locked rooms, the trackers on my phone, threats to anyone who got close. Jack's fists clenched. He'd seen enough horror overseas to spot an abuser's playbook. "What made you bolt now?" "He killed someone," Laura murmured, staring into the flames. "A housekeeper who tried to pass me a note from a friend. He staged it as a fall down the stairs, but I saw him shove her. When I called him out, she touched her neck bruises. He almost ended me, too." The stove crackled in the quiet. Outside, Jack's horses nickered in the barn. That night, I spiked his scotch with sleeping pills, grabbed what cash I could, and drove cross-country. Emily's old emails were my lifeline. She described this place like a haven, wide skies where you could finally breathe. Jack watched her, seeing Emily's features but sensing a sharper edge. Where Emily had been gentle like a spring breeze, Laura had the grit of someone who'd fought to survive. "He'll track you here." It wasn't a question. "Yeah, Victor hates losing his property." Her gaze met his, and a resemblance stole his breath. "I can pay my way jewelry, some savings." "Keep it," Jack said, turning to the window where his land stretched toward the Rockies. "No man lays hands on a woman like that. Stay as long as you need." Laura was silent, so long he thought she'd dozed off. When he looked back, tears streamed down her face. "Thank you. Emily was spot on about you." As February thawed into March, Laura bloomed with the melting snow. She turned Jack's bachelor pad into a real home-cooking meals that didn't come from a can, fixing his torn jeans with neat stitches, filling the quiet with her soft singing while she worked. But the evenings by the fire tested him most. Laura would curl up in Emily's old armchair, firelight dancing on her chestnut hair as she read from thrillers she'd packed. Her voice, so like Emily's but with its own rhythm, wove tales of intrigue while the Montana winds moaned outside. One stormy night in late March, she stretched for a book on the high shelf, her sweater hugging her curves. Jack's pulse quickened before he could shove it down. She was really warm, alive, not just a shadow of his past. "Emily loved reading to me," he muttered, trying to deflect. "I know she emailed about it." Laura's eyes locked on his, a spark jumping between them. "She said you had the kindest heart she'd ever known." Jack stared at his rough hands, calloused from fences and feed. "Nothing kind about these." "She was wrong about a lot," Laura said softly, stepping nearer. "But not that." When she traced the scar on his knuckles from a Taliban skirmish, Jack should have backed off. She was his dead wife's sister, vulnerable on the run. He was her protector, not her lover. But he caught her wrist, feeling her heartbeat race. "Laura, a warning, a want." "I know it's complicated," she whispered, close enough to smell her lavender soap, to see the faint freckles Emily lacked. "But I haven't felt safe in years. Haven't felt desired." Her hand cupped his jaw, and he leaned in like a man starved. "We shouldn't." Even as he said it, his thumb caressed her pulse, and she pressed closer, fitting against him perfectly. Just once, she breathed against his mouth. "Let me feel alive." Their kiss ignited like wildfire, fierce, hungry. Laura's nails raked his back, as if claiming this moment from her nightmares. They tumbled to the rug by the fire, her skin glowing in the flames as she moved with a passion that shattered his walls. She was fierce, broken, unbreakable. When she gasped his name, Jack felt his frozen heart thaw. Afterward, holding her close, he stared at the rafters, wondering if he just crossed a line straight to hell. Outside, tires crunched on gravel trouble brewing. Victor Hale rolled into the small town of Billings like a storm cloud, trailing private investigators and enough cash to bend wills. In his 50s, silver-haired and suited despite the drive from New York, his smile was polished venom. Within hours at the local diner, half the folks were nodding along. "My wife's at a breakdown," he told Deputy Ramirez over pie, voice dripping with fake sorrow. Grief from her mom's passing messed her up, hallucinations, outbursts. "Docs say she's a risk." He flashed forged papers, psych evals, court orders for custody of his unstable spouse. All bought and paid for. Victor knew money turned lies into gospel. Deputy Ramirez, a guy with a flexible code in a cash-strapped town, pocketed a fat envelope. "Heartbreaking, Mr. Hale. We'll help get her home safe." While Victor spread his web, Jack got the first warning from his neighbor, Mike DeSona, a solid guy who'd farmed nearby for decades. Mike pulled up at dawn, truck splattered with mud. "Some suit from the east is asking about you, Jack. Says he's hunting his wife. Description fits that lady you've got staying over." Laura, out feeding the chickens, dropped the bucket at Victor's name, going pale as death. "He found me. Oh God, he actually found me." Jack wrapped an arm around her. "Mike, what's he spinning? Claims she's nuts. Got docs to prove it. Deputies are geared up to fetch her." Laura whimpered like a cornered animal. He'll lock me in some facility, bury me where no one asks questions. Not happening, Jack snarled. Might guide them, seeing the Bond plain as day. She doesn't look crazy to me. Scared, yeah. Hurt, sure, but sane. Her husband's been knocking her around. She ran to survive. Mike spat. Then you gotta fight. Hale's got the town half convinced he's a saint. And Ramirez? He'd trade his badge for the right price. Laura straightened, fire in her eyes. Then we stand our ground. I'd rather die than go back. Gazing at her bruised, but bold Jack chose his path. They came at noon, the sun blazing like a spotlight. Jack had prepped, moved the horses, loaded his shotgun, and shown Laura the spare pistol. Hide in the basement till it's done, he'd said that morning, checking his Glock the one from his Marine days. Laura grabbed his face. Come back to me, Jack Harlan. He kissed her fiercely, tasting fear and fire. She slipped Emily's wedding band into his palm, the one he'd kept on a chain. For luck. Now he stood on the porch, watching the dust from their SUVs. Victor led, with Deputy Ramirez and 4 burly goons in tactical gear, guns holstered but ready. Jack Harlan, Victor called from 50 yards, voice smooth as oil. I think you got my wife. Time to hand her over. Not how I see it, Jack replied, hand on his hip near the Glock. Old training kicked in. Gauge distances, spot twitches, keep them at bay. Victor's grin didn't reach his eyes. Laura's ill, Mr. Harlan. Needs treatment. Not playing pretend with some lonely widower. Funny, Jack shot back. Sick folks don't drive 2,000 miles to escape their care. Ramirez fidgeted. We got warrants, Harlan. Legal as hell. I've seen legal like Hale's before, bought and bogus. Back in the Corps, we called guys who hit women scum. Victor's facade cracked, eyes narrowing to slits. You're sheltering a thief who drugged me and stole cash. I could sue you bankrupt. Try it, Jack said, stepping off the porch. But here's the deal. Turn tail back to New York. Forget Laura exists. Or else. Victor's tone iced over. Or what? Or I make sure you don't walk off this land. Tension coiled like a spring. One gun tattooed brute reached for his piece. Jack's shotgun barked, kicking dirt at the guy's boots. The echo boomed off the hills. Next one's chest high. Your call. Victor paled with rage. You have no idea who you're messing with. Connections, lawyers. And I've got a gun and justice on my side. Levels the field. The standoff simmered, but Laura burst from the house. Jack's pistol steady, fury blazing. Hello, Victor. Missing your punching bag. Victor stared like she'd risen from the grave, composure shattering. Laura, sweetheart. I've been worried sick. She laughed, razor sharp. Worried? Like when you killed Maria for helping me. Or faked those psych papers. Victor glanced at Ramirez, then back. You're delusional from your mom's death. Mom died 8 years ago. What I'm grieving is the fool who married you. She faced the group. Gentlemen, my husband prefers easy tales. Crazy wife, hero hubby. But I documented everything. From her pocket, a thumb drive. Every hit, every threat, every payoff. Dates, names, amounts including the 10 grand to that judge's aid for those forgeries. Victor's face twisted red. You lying bitch, Jack's shotgun swung. Finish that, and it's your last breath. Ramirez looked queasy. Hale's cash wasn't worth federal heat. Laura bared her scars. This for month 1. Want the rest. The goons shifted, doubts creeping. Calling her a liar crossed a line. Even here frontier ethics died hard in Montana. Laura leveled the pistol, then lowered it. I'm not yours anymore, Victor. Force it, and see what Montana justice looks like. Victor scanned the faces, goons averting eyes, deputy staring at boots, Jack's aim rock steady. Power had flipped. This ain't finished. Yes, it is, Laura said, voice like a slamming door. Go terrorize someone else. I'm free. Spring hit Montana hard that year, greening the fields and sparking new life. Laura watched from the porch, their porch now as Jack trained a skittish colt in the corral, patient hands earning trust from a creature scarred by humans. It mirrored how he'd healed her, offering safety without strings. Victor slunk back to New York that day, tail between his legs. Laura's files sparked an FBI probe. His empire was crumbling under fraud and murder charges. She was truly free, no shadows left. Penny, for your thoughts? Jack said, joining her, sweat damp and smiling. Just how far we've come. She leaned into him, marveling at the gentle touch over bruises. Emily would have wanted you happy. Emily would have loved you, Jack replied, kissing her forehead. But Laura's the one who showed me living beats, just getting by. As the sun dipped behind the mountains, painting the sky in fiery hues, Laura Harlan Everhale again embraced her second chance, whole and unafraid. What do you think about this story? Drop a comment below sharing your take on love, second chances, or standing up to abusers. Whose side are you on? Do you think Jack and Laura crossed the line? Or was it meant to be? Let me know your stance and why.